word to wise. Grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're gonna be talking about X-Force, number 25 by Benjamin Percy and Robert Gill. And in this video, we are gonna finally learn exactly what it is that Wolverine wanted to ask Forge to build for him back in Benjamin Percy's X-Force number 4. We're also gonna find out what's up with the relationship status of Kid Omega and the Stepford Cuckoo, Phoebe, as well as a sneaky plot against the mutant children of Krakoa. We're gonna talk about all this and more right now, but first, if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I post multiple videos throughout the week, plus live stream every Saturday. That way you don't miss anything. Also, we're trying to hit 75,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so if you haven't done so already, consider becoming one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. That said, let's talk about X-Force, number 25. Okay, so one of the first things to talk about, and this is something that I think anyone who has been keeping up with this book would probably have seen coming a mile away, Phoebe and Quentin Quire are about to hit a huge snag in their relationship. It was something that was really cute, seeing Quentin connect with Phoebe in ways that, we've never really seen these characters interact before, and seeing them in this relationship that seems to defy all odds, seeming to get to this point where we realize that maybe this just might be the new normal for Quentin Quire and Phoebe. And apparently, there is something greater going on with the Stepford Cuckoos. You see, they together work and operate as one, as one would potentially imagine. They are, for all intents and purposes, a telepathic hive mind. And the true strength of their abilities is when they work together and when they are literally right next to one another. Their power increases to levels and magnitudes that could rival any Omega level telepath, or telekinetic for that matter. And right now, they feel like Emma Frost needs them right now more than ever, that they need to be at their peak mutant capabilities. And if Phoebe is running around and kissing and hugging on Quentin Quire, then she's not with the rest of the hive. And if she's not with the rest of the hive, then they as a whole can't aid Emma Frost to the fullest of their abilities. And that's why they're trying to urge Phoebe into getting away from Quentin Quire. And it's one of those scenarios where, and kind of like I felt with the previous sword issue, there's a very obvious tell here. When Quentin takes Phoebe to the Bower, the nursery where they keep all the mutant children, Phoebe sees in Quentin's mind something that she says scares her, but I think she actually feels the opposite. She reveals that she saw in Quentin's mind when they were hanging out with the children that apparently Quentin was daydreaming about having a baby with Phoebe. Now, once again, she claims that this terrified her, but what it made her realize is that she had to let go of Quentin because she says all the very typical things that if you've ever been in any kind of a long-term relationship that ends in a very weird and almost abrupt way because the other person probably feels like they have to get away from you, not because you're a bad person, but maybe because they feel like they can't give you what you want from them. She says all of the clear-cut things. She tries to hurt Quentin. She tries to say things that would make him, well, at least in her eyes, hate her. And I don't think that she's gonna get the desired result that she wants. She is clearly doing this because she fears hurting his feelings, and more importantly, she feels her duty to Emma Frost. And we know that another Stepford Cuckoo also just recently kind of had a little bit of a breakup with another mutant on the island, and that was Esme, though we know in the future they will wind up being together again due to the events of Jerry Duggan's Cable number 11. We know that at some point in time, they're likely going to wind up reconnecting, and their breakup was in a way kind of amicable, but Esme didn't really seem to go out of her way to stop it. And now we kind of know why. But I have a sneaking suspicion Phoebe is going to change her mind or find some kind of a compromise. The other thing that we have to talk about is Wolverine. Wolverine back in X-Force number 4, after discovering a pool of liquefied adamantium that was revealed to him to be in place should they have to bring Wolverine back and replace the adamantium on his bones. Wolverine saw another usage for it, and he was about to ask Forge to make him something, and it seemed as though it was going to be something incredibly important. It was going to be some major game-changing thing, but he never actually got to finish his sentence. But whatever it was, it seemed like, yeah, it was going to be this major deal. Well, now we know exactly what it was that he was asking Forge to build for him. It was a surfboard, because as we know in the past, Wolverine does seem to like to play with fire, or rather water in this case, because for him, water is incredibly dangerous, at least, being out in the ocean, because Wolverine, though he technically can swim, he knows how to swim, his adamantium bones make him too heavy to actually swim in any meaningful way. If he hits the water, he's simply just going to sink to the bottom. So it's something that gives him an adrenaline rush, and Forge has built a surfboard for him that almost kind of makes him like the adamantium surfer, not the kind of a play on the Silver Surfer, but it's made from Krakoan materials, also laced with adamantium, much like his bones. Not only that, the surfboard is bladed, so it basically is one of those things that while he's out there surfing, he could even use it as a weapon if he so chose. But he also needed this because the waves on Krakoa are incredibly powerful. He even goes on to say that the waves here could nearly reach the clouds in the sky above, that the waves here can reach anywhere from 50 to 70 to even 100 feet, that the waves of the water, that it's literally millions of tons of water within a single tidal wave. These waters are incredibly dangerous, and as one would imagine, he surfs these waves with a skill that you would imagine Wolverine would very likely have. And of course, when he actually hits one of the real tough ones, he does wind up sinking, to the point that the board, as well as the waves and the ripping water themselves, tear away at his skin. But he winds up being saved by a woman by the name of Pike, a mysterious woman who I can go ahead and tell you right now is up to no good. She just kind of seems to mysteriously arrive, and now I will definitely say she is on the cover of this book, and while I do often say comic book covers tell many a lie, she is shooting at Wolverine as well as the people who are with her on that cover, but it's meant to mislead you because it's actually pretty obvious. She is not to be trusted. Her and her friends, they claim to be surfers who like to surf the most dangerous waves in the world, even talking about how they want to go to Morocco and surf the waves there, going on to talk about all the other waves that they've surfed across the world. Now, the thing that actually gives her away, other than the fact that this cover basically just kind of snitched on her, or the fact that she just seems too good to be true, is that she doesn't really seem to know the lay of the land when it comes to Krakoa. She erroneously points to what she thinks is the Arakan point, and Wolverine, being as thirsty as he is in this particular moment, he doesn't really seem to pick up on the fact that she doesn't know anything about where things are on Krakoa. Now, I will admit it's likely because, as he does explain, that the island is always changing, so it is a little bit more difficult to know where exactly things are at any one given point in time, but I imagine they don't change that significantly that she would erroneously point out the Arakan point. All puns intended. That said, he's too busy trying to get him a piece because he doesn't really pick up on what exactly she's up to. Wolverine seems to be of the belief that this woman and her friends are mutants, which, could be a thing, but he's never seen them before on the island, and I imagine if they had ever come to the island to surf, he probably would have seen them at some point. And it's not to say that all mutants go to the island, not all of them do, but it just seems kind of weird that her and her buddies, who are all wearing matching uniforms, which, to be fair, some surf suits match, he doesn't really seem to pick up on the fact that they're whole ass super criminals, and they're not there to surf. I mean, well, maybe they were, but they're not there for the waves alone. The reason why Pike and her surfer buddies are there is because they're planning to infiltrate the Bower. Now, I do find this a grave oversight on Krakoa's part, and it's one of many grave oversights they've had since this whole House of X deal even started, but apparently the Bower, where the nursery is held, is kept in what I would say a very unsecure location. Krakoa uses kelp and plankton security perimeters to basically know whether or not someone is breaching the island, and it just so happens that one could easily breach the island if they use Dead Mutant Cove, where Wolverine was surfing and where he met these individuals. Since the water there is so turbulent, it throws off the security perimeter and and Black Tom has just realized this himself, that there just might be something up. Pike and her friends are breaking into the Bower and stealing the mutant children, one of which just so happens to be the child Max, who Quinn said is probably one of the most dangerous of the children because their mutant abilities have manifested at that age. Typically, as we all know, mutants don't really achieve their mutant powers until they reach puberty, but there are many cases where mutants gain their powers early on, Quentin being one of them. We've also known characters like Darwin and even Prodigy who developed their mutant abilities pretty early on as well. And Quentin has even gone on to say that this child, Max, even as an infant, that his power activated and he nearly killed everyone in a 100-yard radius. We don't know exactly what his powers are, but as Quentin points out, telekinesis seems to be a part of his power set. What are these people going to do? Are they going to sell these babies on the black market? Are they going to use them for some kind of scientific experiments? Is this Orcus? Heck, I even kind of wondered if this might be Atlantis, because at a point when we see these people escape into the water, we notice that they all seemingly now have gills. Now, considering this is X-Force, this could very easily be Xeno having created some kind of a augmented human that can adapt similarly to how we've seen them do in the past with their Reavers. It's hard to say who this could possibly be because there's so many different suspects that there could potentially be just based on who all X-Force has had run-ins with lately, whether it's Mikhail Rasputin, whether it's Xeno, hell, they've even had a run-in with Namor himself, so it's hard to say who it could have been. Either way, based on what we see at the very end of the book, the Krakoan dialogue we see, which typically I don't pay much attention to because a lot of times it's usually just a title for the next book, and sometimes it doesn't really ever mean anything, but we can definitely say based on the translation, which basically breaks down to total bummer, it's safe to say the surfing shenanigans and water shenanigans are gonna continue. Maybe it could even also be a very subtle nod towards the fact that maybe we're gonna see some Atlantean shenanigans go down. Once again, Namor did let them know that if they pulled any more shenanigans with the ocean, anything that would potentially affect Namor's domain, he would bring the island down, but I feel like baby stealing is beneath him, so maybe it is not having anything to do with him at all. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button and make sure to share it all over the internet and with all your friends so that they'll know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to Benjamin Percy's X-Force. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we're trying to hit 75,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so if you haven't done so already, consider becoming one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Also, let me know what you thought about X-Force number 25. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.